Greetings artists, I am going to walk you through our next project, which is a collage made with geometric and organic shapes. So first I want to talk about the supplies you're going to need. You need one background paper that can handle glue, so probably not printer paper because that's a little too thin for glue. You need some glue, either liquid glue or a glue stick, scissors, and then you're going to need an assortment of papers. Now I've got construction paper. I also have just all these scraps, so things that have been cut out of before. You could use things from your recycle bin, like junk mail, newspaper, magazines, really any kind of paper that you have laying around. The very first thing I'm going to do is I am going to my background, I'm going to add my first layer, which is going to be a large organic shape. So I have a paper that's the exact same size as my background, and I'm just going to start cutting it using kind of wavy lines. If you remember from our videos in the previous lesson, an organic shape is a shape that comes from nature. So geometric shapes are shapes that we can measure or that have rules, like triangle, rectangle, square, circle. Organic shapes can't really be measured, or they don't have rules. It's just the way things happen to be in nature. So irregular shapes. And I don't love this little nub, so I'm going to fix it. There we go. Great thing about collage is you can make it your own. Cut the shapes any way that you want. All right, so now I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to make a line just inside my organic shape. I don't want to get it too close to the edge because I don't want to accidentally put too much and have it squish out. So I'm going to flip my organic shape over and stick it down to my paper. So that's my first step. It's just, I'm kind of creating a frame or a border for my design inside. Now with my shapes, I have some shapes that are pre-cut. So these are actually something that someone donated to me. So if you have cutters that will cut out specific shapes, they'll be exactly like mine. I will also show you how to make your own geometric shapes. So remember to use the resources that you have. Use what you have around your house. So for instance, I've got this little piece. Actually, I'm going to use this piece of paper. I'm going to use this nice pattern piece of paper, but I'm going to turn it over so I can see a little better. And I have a circle right here next to me. It is my container of wipes. So I'm going to set that down on top of my pattern paper. I want you to see that I can see the paper all the way around. And then I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to trace around that container of wipes. And that's how I'm going to make a good circular shape that is even. So then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut out that circular shape. For this collage, you're probably going to want a total of at least 10 different shapes. So you get to choose which shapes they are, you get to choose what type of paper you're using, but you want at least 10, and you want some of those to be geometric or regular shapes, and some of those to be organic or unmeasurable, irregular shapes. So I'm just going to start taking my different shapes and I'm going to glue them down to my paper. I really want to focus on overlapping. I do want to have quite a bit of overlapping happening on my paper. For this paper, I think I'm going to take, I'm just going to cut off a little piece. And where it's been cut out, I kind of like the edge that it has there, and so I think I'm going to work with that. Kind of reminds me of mountains. So I'm just going to kind of mimic that shape. There we go. And now I've got this cool little guy that I can glue down. So again, I want 10 total shapes. Which shapes I choose is completely up to me. I'm just going to cut and glue, really focusing on overlapping, layering. I've got this piece of paper that was already cut into a long skinny rectangle. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay him down. I can also use textured paper if I have any cool papers that have texture. And I just noticed this one looks like it had a heart cut out of it, so I kind of like that. I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to fold my paper, and then right on the fold, I'm going to cut that half a heart shape. Open it up, and now I've got a little textured heart that I'm going to glue down. And I'm going to overlap. Another really cool thing, if I open that up, I could also use this negative space shape, and I can glue that down as well. So I've got my positive heart that I just cut out, and then this is like my negative space heart, and I can use both of those. All right, so far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes, and now I'm gonna have to really start overlapping because I've got 5 more shapes to go, but I'm kind of running out of space on my paper. Since my glue is wet, I'm gonna lift this and rearrange because I actually want this green circle on top. Oh yes, I like that. That turned out pretty cool. All right, the next trick I want to show you is if I have a square, I'm going to cut this rectangle so it turns into a square, and I turn that square on its side and I cut from corner to corner at a diagonal, I can create 2 triangles. And then if I want my triangle smaller, I just go from point to center and cut it in half, and I can keep doing that and make my triangle smaller and smaller. So just depending on what size I want that triangle to be. I think I like this size. So I'm going to glue him down. All right, there we go. So I'm going to stop there, even though I don't quite have 10, but I just wanted to make sure that you get the idea. You want a combination of organic or irregular shapes and geometric or regular measurable shapes. You want to use lots of different types of paper, some solid, some pattern, just things that you find interesting, and you want to end up having at least 10 shapes. You get to choose which shapes, you get to choose if they're organic or geometric, and you get to choose your paper. So that is what we are doing for our our geometric and organic shape collage. I cannot wait to see what you create.